This is The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good afternoon, Tuscaloosa, Internet World, West Alabama. How are we doing today on this Thursday? Hope you're doing well. This is The Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central and BamaCentral.com. You're watching us on the Bama Central YouTube channel. I appreciate everybody who's checking us out and joining us right there, or joining us on my own social media machines at Joe Gaither 6, or even listening to us on your favorite podcast platform, Spotify, Apple Podcast, or Amazon. The Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. What are we going to do today? Well, we're going to talk about the Vanderbilt Commodores. We're going to talk about Diego Pavia and the quarterback run game just a little bit, and we're going to talk about what to expect this weekend, and we're going to run Alabama's 3 players to watch. We're going to select our 3 players to watch for the week. Last week, we picked Malachi Moore, Caden Proctor, and Jam Miller. Jam Miller did not really have a good game. Caden Proctor and the whole offensive line had themselves a pretty stellar game, and Malachi Moore, it was a kind of a tale of 2 halves for the whole defense right there. So we were 1.5 out of 3 per se for last week. So we've done pretty decently. Last week, not so much, but we'll look to do a little bit better with our 3 players to watch this weekend as the Crimson Tide heads up to Nashville and takes on the Vanderbilt Commodores. As always, you can jump in and join us on the comment section at Joe Gaither 6. Send me a comment, question, query, or complaint right there into your favorite social media platforms. Before we get going today, let me tell you about Purple Turtle Roofing. They're the most reliable residential roof replacement company in Alabama and Mississippi. Purple Turtle Roofing, whether it's addressing leaks, storm damage, or general wear and tear, Purple Turtle Roofing is going to be there to deliver exceptional roof repair for your property. Purple Turtle Roofing is the leading expert in local residential roofing solutions, specializing in providing unparalleled service and quality craftsmanship for all your roof replacement needs. Call Dustin Foley and his team today at 877-PT-ROOF-5 for free roof inspection. That's 877-787-6635 to schedule your appointment, and one of their qualified employees will come check out your roof for free and make sure you're prepared for all of life's storms. You can visit them online today at roofturtle.com. All right, so let's get right into it. The Crimson Tide goes up to Nashville, plays Vanderbilt at 3:15 on Saturday, and it's going to be a lot of fun to be there. We will be there for BamaCentral.com. You can follow us all. Oh, yeah, you can be there with my friend Everett Osmer, who will be watching us on TV. He's commenting on the Facebook machine like you can. Roll Tide right back to you, Everett. We will be in First Bank Stadium. Myself, Katie Wyndham, and Hunter DeCiver this weekend watching Alabama take on the Vanderbilt Commodores. It'll be the first road test for this year's Crimson Tide team. And it is a much, much, much different game than what Alabama found themselves in last week against what is the number 4 team, nation's number 4 team, Georgia Bulldogs. They were number 2 last week, but Alabama won that dramatic game. So let's talk about some keys to the game. We're going to go 3 keys to the game, and then we're going to go 3 players to watch, and then we'll wrap it up with sort of kind of overall thoughts and predictions. My 3 keys to the game, we're going to get it started as I mute all my notifications. Yeah, there we go. Here we go. We're going to get started with my first key to the game. I think I have a sound effect for that. Yeah, something like that. Oh, we got to turn it off the loop there. Just like that. Perfect. We got to turn it off the loop. So my first key to the game is Alabama needs to bring its own juice. The Crimson Tide is a 24-point favorite, and we just hit it. They had that emotional victory over Georgia in week number 5. Fourth game for Alabama and Georgia. But last week, emotional victory. I mean, it was the highest of highs. We're kicking Georgia's butt. Oh, my gosh, the lowest of lows. The anxiety creeps in. Georgia has come back, and we're going to lose. And boom, again, the highest of highs. What a miracle play. Ryan Williams saves all our bacon, and everybody's happy. So how does Alabama deal with the kind of basically the emotional letdown? You cannot be as high as you were last week. Now, thankfully for the Crimson Tide, you're playing Vanderbilt, but you are a big-time favorite on the road in a tiny, tiny stadium, comparatively speaking, for the SEC. We've been saying it's the first SEC road game, and it is. I mean, it is, but it's a 39,790 person capacity crowd, just under 40,000. That's the easiest way to say it. Just under 40,000 is the capacity at First Bank Stadium. And you better believe that the Alabama faithful, is going to be filling, what, 10, 20, 25,000 of those seats? I mean, 25 is probably a little too high, but the Alabama faithful is going to be filling somewhere between 10 and 20 of those 40,000 seats. It's not going to be that hostile of an environment. Alabama went into a more hostile environment in Wisconsin. Granted, the team in Wisconsin was also not as good as Alabama, and maybe isn't as good as Vanderbilt. The Vanderbilt Commodores 2-2 on the season, beating Virginia Tech and Alcorn State, I believe, and then losing to Georgia State and Missouri. But you're going to have to bring your own juice. You're going to have to, get yourself ready to start fast and start focused. Last week was not focused. Last week started fast, but last week did not start focused. You had 10 penalties throughout the entire game, and quite frankly, that is unacceptable for a team that has championship aspirations. I understand the emotional moment. We just kind of highlighted it. The roller coaster that was, and the heightened stakes. You're playing against a team that is as talented, or maybe more talented, than you were last week in the Georgia Bulldogs. That's debatable, but a team that is on par with your abilities. You got into the penalty game just a little bit. You're going to be better than Vanderbilt on Saturday. You must start fast and focus and stay focused throughout the whole game. You cannot have these penalties. You cannot have false starts, delay of games, illegal shifts, illegal formations. You can't have it. You can't have your unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. You get an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty going into half. Tyler Booker, that one was weak. Tyler Booker got himself an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty against the Georgia Bulldogs. That was pretty weak. Blocking behind the play, though, and that's going to be something that Tyler learns from in the future. It's going to be a lot of fun to be there in Nashville, but it's going to be the Alabama side. The players are going to have to treat it like a business trip, because the people, the fan base, the Alabama faithful, look, we're going to be up there in Nashville. I'm going to have myself a good little time on Friday for sure. It's one of those cities. It's not quite Las Vegas, obviously, but in the follow me here, the parallel, the Las Vegas Raiders moved from Oakland to Las Vegas, and every NFL team that plays over there treats it like a chance to, hey, let's go visit Las Vegas. Well, in the SEC, it's not Las Vegas and Nashville, but it is a nice city, and it is a beautiful city. It's a great eating city. It's a great touristy city, a great music city. You can scratch whatever itch you're looking to scratch pretty much within reason in Nashville. And so it becomes kind of a destination road trip for the Alabama faithful and for the other teams in the SEC. So you'll have some Alabama fans there cheering you on, singing "Yay, Alabama," you chanting "Roll Tide" in the stands. But for the most part, Alabama, Jalen Milroe, Tyler Booker, Parker Brailsford, and really on the defensive side, Jahad Campbell, Deontay Lawson, you're going to have to bring your own juice. I think that's going to be the number one key. And if you do that, then everything else falls into place. You're going to make enough plays if you're juiced up and ready, right? Okay, you might have some mistakes. You might have some of these penalties that we just hit on, but you will make enough plays. You're going to have some of those electric moments because you are simply better than Vanderbilt, more athletic. What are you chewing on? Oh, my mercy. I'm sorry. Hold one second. Oh, yeah, you can't chew on that. I just heard the dog chewing. Excuse me. I'm sorry. But, yeah, you're going to have to be energized, and you're going to have to bring it for yourself because the opponent won't do it, the venue won't do it, and really the time of day, it's middle of the day, it'll be a great time of day. You get in there, get your business done, you can get home to Tuscaloosa to have yourself a Saturday night if you're an Alabama player. So get in there and handle your business. I think bringing your own juice is my first key to the game. My second key for Alabama is playing your assignment on defense. Perfect. Yeah, I think you got to play your assignment on defense with this Vanderbilt Commodores team because you are more athletic than them. You are physically superior to Vanderbilt. Yes, it is a more improved Vanderbilt team. We got to be honest about that. But it's not it's not any of the upper echelon of the SEC. It's still one of the bottom tier SEC teams as far as talent is concerned. I think they're well coached. I don't think coaching is the problem, but I think that talent is. And so for Alabama defensively, you go out, Vanderbilt goes out and gets Tim Beck from New Mexico State, and he brings in his quarterback, Diego Pavia. And they're running a lot of triple option. They're running a lot of speed option. They're running a lot of quarterback run. Really, they're getting after you in the running game in multiple different ways. And so for Alabama, the key is to be really playing assignment football, is to be keyed into your assignment, be locked into what you're being asked to do your job. Because, look, is Diego Pavia the most athletic runner on the field? No. Every single one of these Alabama defenders have seen Jalen Milroe in practice, a much better athlete, really. But Diego Pavia runs his tail off. He's going to stick his teeth in the defense, and he's going to challenge you on every single play. And so because of that, you're going to have to answer that challenge. You're going to have to answer that challenge most of the time through the game. I'm sure there's going to be some lapses here or there. But defensively, if you want to win this game and win it handily, as you should, as the prognosticators kind of have you 24-point favorite, it should be a comfortable win for you, right? If you want to do that, the key to doing that is to play assignment football. All right, John Campbell, if you've got a quarterback and if Quay Russaw's got running back, whatever the case may be, if Quay Russaw's got a quarterback and you've got running back, everybody's got to play their assignment. And you're going to have to play with good eyes on Saturday because Vanderbilt's going to try to run some reverses. They're going to try to manipulate you with some counters, manipulate you with some screens, just kind of do a lot of different things in the offensive game plan that gets after, that enables them to stay in it, is basically my point. And so for Alabama, you think back to any of the times that they played an option-centric team, Georgia Southern or anything of the sort. I mean, goodness gracious, that was over a decade ago, right? That they played the Georgia Southern through a 10-horn game. But it's just a matter of playing your assignment. Vanderbilt won't be able to beat you if you play your assignment, and Vanderbilt's going to have a tough time beating you anyways. But I think that you have seen a better quarterback in practice already, each and every day, and you've seen a more athletic quarterback in week number 2 in Bryant-Denny Stadium in Byron Brown. Now, Byron Brown in South Florida didn't do near as much in the triple option game. They got out there. They did some quarterback read for sure. And they got Byron Brown out there in some design quarterback run and some quarterback draw. But Pavia will do all of that, but it's going to be more. It's going to be more triple options as well. It's going to be quarterback read. It's going to be quarterback draw. It's going to be quarterback power. It's going to be quarterback counter. He's going to be running speed option, all kinds of things in the run game. And so that for Alabama defensively, if you just play your assignment, look, he ain't better than Byron Brown. He's not better than Jalen Milroe. Play your assignment. You'll be fine. You'll be able to take care of Diego Pavia in the running game and bottle up that Vanderbilt offense. My last key to the game for the Crimson Tide is really simple, but it's staying healthy. Sure, this is a cheap key to the game, but for Alabama, this is a game you're going to win. I mean, I'm not going to tiptoe around and pretend that Vanderbilt will beat you. Now, look, with that said, you got to give them the respect. Vanderbilt has been in every single game this year. They beat Virginia Tech right there in overtime. They crushed Alcorn State. Good for them. They let it slip late against Georgia State. Georgia State drove on them, scored a touchdown with like 15, 20 seconds left in the game. It was basically over right there. They took a missed field goal. They missed a field goal in overtime in Missouri. So they're a better football team. They're a better football team than they have been. It's Clark Lee's 4th year. He's hired a new offensive coordinator. We just went over all of that, right? They're a better football team than they have been. But this is not – they haven't improved to a point to where they're going to be challenging Alabama on Saturday to win. No. So for Alabama, you got to play clean, and you just got to play hard, and hopefully knock them out early. Learn a few lessons about keeping your foot on the gas, executing at a high level offensively throughout the whole game. I think that really it was more a case of that happening. Alabama not executing on Saturday rather than Georgia changing its game plan. But still, all this to say, we're dancing around the point of being injury free. Alabama's been largely injury free throughout the 5-6 weeks of the season now, right? You're going into week number 6. It's game number 5, and you've been largely injury free. You're looking at the depth chart, the injury report that came out yesterday for the SEC. They put it through there, and it says Kendrick Law and Justin Jefferson. And really, I think Kendrick Law is going to sit this game out, and I think Justin Jefferson is probably going to play. Outside of that, you've got no other real injuries. I mean, obviously, Jalen Hale notwithstanding, because he's a long-standing injury, right? Not going to play pretty much the whole year. But other than that, you look at across the scholarship roster, and you're seeing pretty much everybody can play. And sure, you've got guys with bruised here, sore this, sore that. Not everybody's not at 100%. We're not going to pretend that is the case. But what is the case is the availability. Everybody largely, outside of Kendrick Law and Justin Jefferson today on Thursday, are good to go for Saturday. And you're going to have tougher battles in the future. You got South Carolina coming to town. You're going to Tennessee. You got Missouri coming to town. You're going to have tougher battles than this Vanderbilt game. And so it would just be, look, injuries are part of the game. They are. It's a terrible part of the game, but they just are. But you don't want guys injured in a game like this, in a game where you feel like, from an Alabama perspective, you're going to win, even if you just roll out your C- game. Now, you don't want to roll out your C- game. I'm not advocating for that, but I'm saying that I think that the talent gap is still pretty large between Alabama and Vanderbilt. If you look at 24/7 Sports, their 24/7 Sports talent composite, Alabama, number 1 for the 2024 season. Vanderbilt, number 50, right? So let's not pretend like the Alabama's on upset alert this week. You just want to keep everybody healthy. I think that you've seen a little bit of that in some of these games where Alabama's played South Florida and Western Kentucky, where different guys have gotten a little bit banged up. They've come on out for precautionary reasons, just to hold them out for the rest of the to keep them healthy for the rest of the year. So I think Alabama's been really fortunate on the injury front, and you look to see that continue on Saturday. So those are my 3 keys to the game for Saturday. Alabama has to bring its own juice. Alabama has to play assignment football on defense, and Alabama really, hopefully, has to hope to be injury free after Saturday's game, going into the more meatier part of the SEC schedule. You got the Georgia game out of the way. Huge hurdle. Don't want to undersell how big of a hurdle that is, but this Vanderbilt game, kind of just the next step. You can't take it lightly. You want to progress. You want to show improvement through the season, but tougher battles to come. So you want to be hopefully injury free going through the rest of the year. All right, let's keep it going. We want to tell you about our friend Derek Daniel at State Farm. We want to tell you about Derek Daniel at State Farm. Sorry, I was scrolling looking for my poster. You can call them today at 205-758-3391 for all of your insurance needs. Home, life, auto insurance, or renter's insurance. You need an umbrella and policy. If you're looking to buy a car, sell a car, you need to make sure you're trading in a car. Get a quick quote for your auto insurance. Call Red, Reese, or Victoria at Derek Daniel State Farm. He's just off McFarland Boulevard by the Tiger Rock on the left-hand side there. You can find his office. He'd love to visit with you. He's got a great team there. You can call him at 205-758-3391 for all of your insurance needs. Make sure you tell him that the Joe Gaither Show sent you, and we appreciate that. Like a good neighbor, Derek Daniel and State Farm is there. All right, excuse me. Let's keep it rolling. We want to get into what our prediction is for Alabama's players of the game. We've done it each and every week. Usually on Thursdays, we've done it. We picked 3 players that we think you should be watching from an Alabama perspective. Now, look, we're not going to pick Jalen Milroe. We're not going to pick Ryan Williams. Those are the easiest 2 picks in the world. You should be watching them on Saturday. They're probably going to have electric games. Jalen Milroe has been on a historic run from an Alabama quarterback perspective, scoring both on the ground and in the air. And then Ryan Williams, I mean, look, how much more can we talk about the young man? He's phenomenal. He is absolutely phenomenal. So, yeah, with a caveat to Jalen Milroe and Ryan Williams, those 2 guys get a standing position. Those 2 guys get a permanent position on 3 players to watch. But, look, if we did that, we'd only be picking 1 player each and every week. And that's just not right. That doesn't make for inviting radio, engaging content. So we're picking 3 players that are not named Ryan Williams and not named Jalen Milroe. And I'll start first on the offensive side of the football with C.J. Dupree. I think you saw a fun development in Jalen Milroe's game, and maybe it was due to the game plan. Maybe it was due to really just trying to get the ball out of his hands and help the protection up front. But he targeted C.J. Dupree several times. I think C.J. got 6 targets in the game on Saturday. He ultimately had 4 catches for 38 yards. He had a long of 15 yards. He was really secure most of the time. Underneath as a security blanket, yeah, he had that one go off of his hands that went for an interception right there on the goal line. So that was a really painful play. I think CJ bounces back from that play and builds off of what he did in the Alabama offense last week. I think CJ Dupree's a real player. Now, is he the athlete that Ryan Williams is, Jeremy Bernard, Jamet? No, we're not going to play that game. But for a tight end, let's just talk about him as a tight end. I think he's a real good athlete, a really, really good athlete for a tight end. And I think he can be a dangerous weapon in the passing game for Alabama, a dangerous weapon, a security blanket. If Jalen Milroe develops, we've got the bomb shots down the field, to Ryan, to Manuel Henderson, Jeremy Bernard, you're hitting those, you're seeing those through the first several games. But if you can continue to incorporate a little bit of a security blanket, I think that C.J. Dupree can develop into a big piece of this Alabama offense, and I think you continue to see him take a step this week in Nashville. We're going to go out on a limb and say C.J. Dupree gets himself in the end zone, builds off of his game last week, his incorporation into the offense. It's been a slow incorporation, and obviously he is not fighting, but yes, competing for snaps with Josh Cuevas and Robbie Oots, both those guys getting receptions as well for Alabama this past weekend, split out wide or what have you. I think that C.J. Dupree is in for a touchdown this week. He's going to be my pick for one of my picks for players to watch. I'm taking C.J. Dupree to build off of his last game. Now, a guy that I think he didn't have a bad game. Jihad Campbell didn't have a bad game against the Georgia Bulldogs, but he didn't have a Jihad Campbell game where he's having 10 plus tackles in a game, 8, 9, 10 plus tackles in a game. He had 5 tackles in the game. I think is what I saw, 4 or 5 tackles in the game this past week against the Georgia Bulldogs. And I think that when you're talking about Diego Pavia and you're talking about assignment football, obviously somebody's taking the dive. And sometimes that's going to be Jihad. Sometimes it's probably going to be Tim Smith or Jamarian Latham. Sometimes it might even be Quay Russo. It just depends on what the defensive scheme is. But Jihad Campbell is going to have a huge game. Deontay Lawson and Jihad are both going to have huge games with their eyes keyed in on Diego Pavia. And again, going back to the earlier, I don't think that Vanderbilt's going to win. But if you want to have the dominant game that you're looking for against the Vanderbilt Commodores, I think Jihad plays a huge role in that. And really, Deontay too. You could just flip a coin with which inside linebacker you want to pick for your players to watch, because I think both guys are hugely important with Diego Pavia's running ability. And so I'm taking Jihad Campbell as my second player to watch. Number three, I'm taking Quay Russo. Now, look, Quay Russo played minimal snaps against the Georgia Bulldogs because he's hurt, because he was bouncing back from injury. You all remember him kind of getting helped off the field against Wisconsin up there a couple of weeks ago, and then he came back from injury like a warrior and made a hugely impactful play. Getting out on the edge on Carson Beck and popping the ball free for a sack fumble in the second half that slowed down the Georgia comeback. And so I think Clay Rousseau is in for a big game because I think he's going to be 1 week more. That's not the right word. 1 week more recovered. That's not right. That doesn't sound right. I don't think he's going to be 1 week healthier. That sounds better. He's going to be 1 week healthier, and I think that he has already shown how much of an impact he can have when he is balling, when he is on his game. And so I think with the quarterback run game again, you kind of playing a little bit of a two-man game with whoever's on the edge and whoever's on the inside. It kind of just depends on which side they're running to, whether it be to the Wolf or to the Bandit. And so I think that Clay Rousseau is going to have a huge game on Saturday, getting closer and closer to 100%. Who do you think? Who do you think is going to be the three players to watch? Who are your three players to watch this Saturday as Alabama takes on the Vanderbilt Commodores up there in Nashville? You can let me know in the comments section at Joe Gaither6 on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, or you can just hit me up in the DMs later if you'd like to, as you are listening to this later on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Amazon. Let's close it out. Real quick by making some game predictions, and we'll do that in just a moment. But first, let me tell you about our friends at Druid City Music Hall. They're the premier place for live music on the Strip. You can find them right there on the Strip next to the Waffle House. Right, easy. You know where the Waffle House is already. Druid City Music Hall, right next to it. The same building. They got Josiah Queen is sold out already today. Well, tomorrow, make sure you go ahead and get your tickets for Quarters of Change. Quarters of Change tomorrow, Friday, October 4th, and next Wednesday, I will be in there because I want to see Red Farron next Wednesday, October 9th. Red Farron, a little bit of country vibe, a little bit of a Morgan Wallen vibe, a little bit of a Kid Rockish vibe, kind of a redneck country. It was really good, redneck country rock mixture. Check out Red Farron next Wednesday, October the 9th, 8 o'clock. All these shows start at 8 o'clock right there. Druid City Music Hall. You can see their entire lineup for their whole fall, the Kaleidoscope Concert Series next Thursday. EME, Sam Barber as well. Just lots of great artists to check out right there on their website, druidcitymusichall.com/shows. Let's finish this show by kind of just wrapping up our general predictions for this game. I think Alabama's going to win, and I think Alabama's going to win handily. I think that Alabama really found some confidence, at least in the coaching staff. I think that they found some confidence in the ability for the coaches to put them in strong positions because you saw that on Saturday. You get out to a 28-0 lead. You have put your players into really good positions from a game plan standpoint. And so these coaches, the Alabama coaches, the Kalen DeBoer, Kane Womack, Nick Sheridan, really have impressed me a lot this year. Now, we bagged on Nick Sheridan a little bit over the usage of trick plays and how that might have taken Alabama out of a little bit of rhythm on this past Saturday. But look, he's still learning, right? He's still relatively young as an offensive coordinator. It's hard to believe. But we've also seen him really scheme up lots of easy plays or lots of easy to read, easy to decipher plays for Jalen Milroe. And I think when you do that for Jalen Milroe, when you make the game simple for him, then you see his athleticism really shine. And is he the best athlete in college football? He might be. I mean, Travis Hunter has a really great argument at Colorado, but Jalen Milroe is, I said it on Monday, the unquantifiable factor. And so when you are making the game easy for him, you're kind of able to invoke that unquantifiable factor on another team. And really, Georgia did a good job responding in the second half and slowing the Alabama offense down. They went 9 drives. Alabama went 9 drives in the second half over the last 9 drives and only scored the 1 touchdown, obviously the Ryan Williams touchdown. They had the field goal drive. That was a pretty decent little drive as well. But outside of that, those final 9 drives, just the 2 times Alabama coming away with points. And so Georgia, you give them a lot of credit. But Vanderbilt is not Georgia. Vanderbilt is not Georgia, and I don't think they're even in the same stratosphere. Okay, so you go into this week and you think, okay, we can spam Jalen Milroe. We can continue to develop in the running game. You got to keep developing in the offensive line because you got to keep expanding the run game, expanding the run package. Yeah, you've seen a lot of Jalen Milroe quarterback run over these couple of weeks, and it's impressive. Look, it is one of the harder things to stop in college football, right? You gotta gap it up correctly. You gotta gap it up correctly defensively, and secondly, you gotta have the right guy, the right dude on the tackle, wrapping up Jalen Milroe, right? You could gap it up correctly, but if Joe Gaither was in the gap trying to tackle Jalen Milroe, well, see you later. He's going for a touchdown, and I'm ending up with my face in the dirt. It's that simple, right? You saw that on Saturday with Malachi Starks, 4th and 1. Alabama, bam, Jam Miller, huge block, and it's one-on-one. It's Jalen Milroe and Malachi Starks. And look, Malachi Starks is considered one of the best safeties in the country. And Jalen Milroe left him face down in the dirt as well. So look, Vanderbilt, do they have anybody like Malachi Starks? Do they have anybody that can tackle Jalen Milroe one-on-one? I would bet no is the answer. And so when you think about the final score and you think about the line and you think about how this week's going to go, I think you're in a comfort zone from an Alabama fan base standpoint. You're in a comfort zone. You're kind of in a hangover. The biggest thing is you want to avoid turnovers and mistakes, turnovers and penalties. If you can do that, then it should be blowout city. If you avoid turnovers and penalties, and if you play a sound assignment football on defense, Diego Pavia is going to get his runs. He's going to get a couple runs of 10 yards. He's going to get a couple runs of 7, 8 yards. But on the whole, you're going to want to bottle all that up and bottle the passing game up. And if you can do that, you're probably looking at a 42-10. You're probably looking at a comfortable day in Nashville and rolling down to Broadway and celebrating on Broadway. I have heard from the Nashville locals, the new Bama bar is called Duck Blind. So if you are in the area, and look, this is not an endorsement of that, because I don't know anything about it, but I've just heard from several Alabama people that that's the new bar in Nashville that supports the Crimson Tide. So if you're looking, I think it's Riley Green is the proprietor there. Riley Green's bar called Duck Blind is the new Alabama bar. So if you want to go say Roll Tide with a bunch of Alabama fans and celebrate, I think that's the place up there in Nashville. And I think you will be celebrating. The biggest thing, you don't want to walk away Saturday feeling like Vanderbilt ever had a shot. And really, it shouldn't be that. I mean, yes, I do think Vanderbilt is a lot grittier than they have been. I do think they're a lot tougher than they have been. But athletically, up front, physically up front, and really even at the skill positions, you outman them 10-1. You outman them. It's overwhelming, right? And so for some reason, 42-10 is stuck in my head. Maybe the score is a little bit higher for Alabama, but I just think that you're going to have a comfortable victory where you're walking away trying to look for things to complain about, and you're probably going to be complaining about consistency in the offense while celebrating several big plays that the offense makes. Oh man, they couldn't get a drive going, 7 plays for 90 yards, but they did go 2 plays for 90 yards because they're just ripping teams for big plays. So I think that's how it's going to kind of go on Saturday. Alabama's offense ripping up big plays, and Alabama's defense kind of trying to bottle up this option style offense. Couple plays and out, trying to frustrate them. And look, I don't think that Vanderbilt's offense has much to threaten Alabama's defense with I don't think that, and to that point, when you see a dominant Alabama defensive performance, I think you should say, good job. That's what you're supposed to do. I don't know that you should be overly impressed with it because of what Vanderbilt has offensively. Yeah, they challenged Missouri. They did challenge Missouri on the road. But I'm starting to doubt kind of the confidence, that the preseason confidence that I had in Missouri, just based on some of their results and some of their offensive performances. So this weekend, I'm feeling 42-10. We'll do a Football Friday tomorrow. We'll try to do it early in the day. I got a big Friday ahead of me, meeting my parents in Nashville, and I cannot wait to do that, to have dinner with them. So it's going to be a big time for me. But we will try to do a Football Friday show tomorrow morning before we get into the Friday festivities in the evening, and then we'll get back onto business on Saturday here at BamaCentral.com. So look, you can follow all our coverage in Nashville. Alabama Crimson Tide on SI. Katie Wyndham's going to be leading us. Hunter DeCiver, I and myself will be there following her lead. We'll be covering the Crimson Tide. Looks like, sounds like, feels like a comfortable Alabama victory on the horizon, and we will talk about it some more tomorrow on Football Friday, right here on the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central and BamaCentral.com.
Thanks for joining us on today's edition of the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. Keep up with Joe on all his social media pages at Joe Gaither6. Subscribe, rate, and review the show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and be sure to read us daily at BamaCentral.com.